Limpopo's ANC Youth League elective conference finally slated now to take place this coming weekend. Punters expect fierce contestation after more members threw their hats in the ring to contest the top 5 leadership positions. The ruling party's Youth League was effectively rendered non-existent after the 2012 departure of erstwhile President Julius Malema, who went on to form the country's third biggest political party. Joining us now to elaborate on the preparations for the much-anticipated conference of the ANC Youth League is the spokesperson, Daniel Madibane. Daniel, good evening, and thank you very much for your time joining us tonight here on In Focus. It was reported as being postponed because of a lack of internal preparedness, particularly around the logistics of the conference. To what do you attribute this lack of preparedness, and how have things now been rectified?
Thank you. Good evening to you and good evening to your viewers. Yes, the Congress was postponed due to issues mainly related to credentials or people that were supposed to be eligible people to participate in the Congress. And this affected almost the entire region of Zambia. So normally when you go to a Congress, the committee that is outgoing will come to adopt political report, adopt organizational report, and other organizational related reports. And when we arrived to the issue of credentials, we have realized that there was a burning issue relating to Zambia. After prolonged discussion on the way forward, we came to a collective wisdom that it will be better for us to postpone it in order to give young people of Limpopo a credible Congress.
What would make this now credible as far as the processes that you have undertaken? You have been able to say you verify all the list of the delegates and their credentials. We won't be seeing, for example, huge delays like we saw in the Eastern Cape this past weekend.
Going forward, we agreed in the meeting that we should meet as early as this week. Our meeting we plan to meet on this Tuesday. And as we were discussing during the day and consulting with the national leadership, we'll be meeting on Wednesday to primarily ensure that we talk on these issues and ensure that when we come with a date, we will make sure that all the shortcomings that we identified are addressed, and also to look at to other regions that maybe that might have the very same issue, to address them so that we do not get surprised. We knew very well when we were given this responsibility to replace the African National Congress Youth League that the roadmap will not be smooth, will come with challenges. But however, as the collective leadership, we are forever ready to rise above the challenges and ensure that at the end of the day, we will give the young people of Limpopo a Congress.
Yeah. How much involvement did you get from the national leadership in the preparation of this? And is this involvement viewed as interference, or is it just really assistance and guidance that you're getting from the national leadership?
The national leadership will always have deployees to provinces that will sit and guide in meetings of the provinces. It's a normal organizational process. The issue that arose during of credentials, we unfortunately not picked it because it was not raised before, and it was raised at that time. We learned about it late Friday that there might be issues with them, and obviously when we go to the meeting, we realized that at the registration there are duplicate of delegates, and we could not, when we consult with the regional leadership in terms of finding to try finding each other, we realized that there is disagreement in terms of those kinds of issues that we are facing, and we could not resolve them for a very long time as we discussed, and we agreed collectively that we must postpone this Congress, especially because Congress of that nature which has contest. If you go on in the Congress, that is questionable. Others might take a legal route, and the Congress might be nullified. So we had to take that painful decision of postponing the Congress and ensuring that we will come back better off to ensure that at the end of the day the Congress goes
Now, the chairperson and the secretary, you're saying, had somewhat produced parallel lists of delegates. Are they satisfied with how the process has been resolved? Is there an agreement now on which list the conference is going to go with?
The reason why we meet we have a meeting is to deal with this issue of the issues that we faced, and we agreed that we will revisit. Remember, delegates will also be nominated on packages. In consultation with the national leadership, we are looking at a way of ensuring that we find a way of getting those people that are right delegates to be in. Because as much as the apparent delegates, there will always be the truth somewhere. But we could not predict or prophesy to say who is misleading us on that aspect. But we said, let us give it a time, let us go and review it and ensure that at the end of the day, the delegates that are going to participate are the right delegates and to participate in that Congress that were elected by a branch membership.
Yeah. And you're saying you are not expecting that this conference will be taken to court at this particular stage?
We don't expect that, and that is why when we are dealing with this issue, we had to postpone. We are not saying a person will not take us to court, but the way we do things in a way that it is at least beyond reproach. We close loopholes for anything that might threaten this Congress through court process. Hence, we realize that if we go on with the issues that we were faced with on Saturday of credentials, at that time we arrived at the decision that perhaps it is good for us to postpone to ensure that this loophole will go back and we close it. We want to bring a Congress that is credible, that will produce leadership, that will champion the interests of young people in Limpopo.
All right. And as far as the cost implications then of this postponement, how is the Youth League addressing that question?
The truth of the matter is that the decision that we took is a painful decision because as we're deliberating in the Provincial Congress Secretarial Committee, that was one of the issues, the burning issue that we raised. But we also, as we engaged, to say, yes, there is financial implication, but however, if this Congress goes on with these issues and we go to court, somebody take us to court, we oppose it and we lose the court because we can see that this is a serious loophole. There will be more cost implication than the one that we might be afraid to absorb now. So we had to absorb that decision that has a high cost implication to us, necessarily because we realize that it can be more than what we have already incurred. It was not an easy decision, but at the end of the day, as leadership, we will find with a situation where you have to take very difficult decisions.
Now, Daniel, I've already mentioned that this has seen more names being added, vying for that top position, making it a highly contested, I suppose, conference. Do you foresee this as being a challenge as far as the security is concerned, with more people contesting? Have you got those security arrangements in place? What are you doing as far as in making sure that you mitigate against such eventualities?
Contests are normal in the organization. It does not mean that if contests are there, people have to be on the throat of each other. Yes, when you prepare for any congress, the security issues will make sure that they're there. But the contest, whoever that they are putting their head, the capable leaders of the ANC Youth League, they understand that contest is normal in the organization. Actually, it is necessary in the organization. It shows that we are going back to the ANC Youth League that is democratic, that its members will not be dictated in terms of who must be leadership. They elect leadership of their own. It was a very robust, but respecting each other in the Congress Secretarial Committee. So there was no hostilities. Hence, I said collectively we arrived at that decision without any fight or without anything, because we understand that it's necessary to have contest in the organization. But yes, you can't just ignore the issue of security for the Congress. We'll have it, but we don't see any hostilities in our Congress. So far with processes, it is a very nice atmosphere.
What measures then is this ANC Youth League that is sitting in this conference going to take to ensure that the interest is really about rebuilding the ANC without focusing on the personal interests of individuals?
Can you repeat your question?
What measures is this ANC that is now reconfiguring itself and starting with this conference going to put in place to ensure that the incoming leadership is not just a leadership looking after its own interest, but it is a leadership that is focused on rebuilding the ANC Youth League, which has been rather inactive for a while now?
We are in the renewal phase. Those who are going to elect leadership are, which are delegates. We believe that they are responsible enough to elect leadership that understand the twin task of the African National Congress Youth League. And the twin task of the African National Congress Youth League is about championing the interests of young people and also mobilizing young people under the banner of the ANC. Because you can't mobilize young people under the banner of the ANC if you don't champion their interests. And those who understand that the ANC Youth League does not exist for its own leadership. The ANC Youth League does not only exist for its membership, but it's the ANC Youth League that exists to champion the interests of young people in South Africa as a whole. Hence, even in our organizational report that we adopted, there were several issues that we looked at in terms of to be discussed in the provincial congress that is aligned with the interests of young people. So it's about adopting those policy positions that talk about the bread and butter issues that are facing young people in the province in particular and ensure that we champion those interests.
Daniel Madibane, appreciate you. Thank you very much for coming on. Speaks on behalf of the ANC Youth League in Limpopo.